So you have made it to video 2 of our perspective. We have our ruler, pencil, and eraser. And this one, it's the same idea as the last video that I started with, except it's going to be a lot more just dealing with those cubes. So a lot less freehanding and then a lot more just making cubes. Now I do have a time lapse of a video that a cityscape that I started from scratch. So that's the time lapse that you're gonna see. So I made this one last night, and so this one might look a little bit different. So that's why it's not gonna look exactly the same as the one in the time lapse. But it's the same idea, those basic cubes. And then it's just putting another cube back behind it, putting another cube back behind that, and then I can figure out where I want to add details. So the first thing we're going to set, again, is our horizon line. So again, not quite at the middle, just, a little bit above middle. Once my ruler's lined up, set my fingers down, pull that across. Now I'm going to set my vanishing point. I want to kind of have equal amounts side of the street, so I'm going to put mine a little bit more closer towards the middle. Just a little dot right on the horizon. Now I'm going to make my road. This is a city road, so I'm going to set my pencil on my vanishing point, and I'm going to use the lines from my ruler. So not just guidelines, but I'm going to use these as the side of my road. So one here, and one over here. And then I'm going to make this just a 2-lane road through the city. Maybe it's kind of like a side street. And you're not going to be able to cross the center line. So I'm just going to put one line down the middle. I'll pull that line down. Slide my ruler over just the tiniest bit. And then here's my second line for the other side of the road. Now, if I want to add a sidewalk, it's the same sort of idea as this. It's just adding little extra lines on the side. So they still connect back to the vanishing point. And first I want to figure out sort of how wide my sidewalk is going to be. So I'm going to pull my first line down. That's how wide my sidewalk is going to be. Now, if I just did this and I started adding the lines on the sidewalk, the horizontal lines. So I'll do that here. And then it's the same idea as the fence posts in the country road. I want to space them out a little bit further apart from each other in the beginning. So I might use my ruler width to figure out how far to space them. And then I'll do a little bit less than a ruler width. And then a little bit less than that. And then make sure I'm staying horizontal. Line that up. A lot less than my ruler width. A lot less. A lot less, and pretty soon it gets so far back in the distance you can like barely see them. Now, if I left it like that, it would be okay. It looks kind of like a sidewalk, but it looks a little bit weird because it doesn't have that step up to the sidewalk. So if I want to add that, I'm going to take my ruler and really super close, because you don't want a gigantic step up. This would be like the biggest or tallest sidewalk you've ever seen. I'm going to leave my ruler pretty close to that first sidewalk edge, pull that down, and now I have a little bit of a lip where I would step up, and then in this space, this gets a vertical line here. So it's just like we made a bunch of really long rectangles or cubes. You just can't see the front side of it here. It's like the top and the side of the cube that gets away from you or goes further back away from you. And then if I want to do the same thing on the other side, I would, again, really small step up. It's even smaller than the other side. The person that made the sidewalk is doing a horrible job pouring the cement. And then I have my other side. And then if I want to try to keep my lines even, easy way to space them out is just to follow the lines on the other side of the road. So I set, that just reminded me of the Wizard of Oz. Follow the yellow brick road. So I'll set my pencil on those lines over here, line it up with my ruler to make, or not my ruler, geez, getting light, with the edge of my paper to make sure it's staying straight, and then just make my line over here. Line this up here. They get so tiny in the back. Here, here, here. Now I have that side of the sidewalk, and again, vertical lines over here. Don't let them get weird and diagonal, otherwise it looks like you have a ramp to go up onto the sidewalk. Now when I'm ready to add some buildings. First building that I'm going to add, I'm going to put it kind of right here in the middle. So it's going to be right up against my sidewalk. People walk in right off the street. And then it's going to go back just to about here. So if you remember in the perspective video that we did last week, this would be like the second cube that you were making. So it goes above, I guess they're rectangular prisms. It's just so much easier to say cube. It's going to go above and below the horizon line. And then just like that, cube, even though it's not, we made last week, get rid of the horizon line inside there. And now the nice thing about this, with having the sidewalk there and my building sitting right on the sidewalk, is that I don't have to make the bottom orthogonal. It's already there. It's already connected back to the vanishing point with the sidewalk. So I'll reset my pencil here, go up to the corner here, and then I decide how long do I want this building to be. I'm going to actually end it a little bit before that. So then the side of my building, it's just like making the end of that cube. This space here that I'm making ends with a vertical line. So I am going to create the other edge of it with a vertical line. Now I have a lovely box building going down a very lonely street. Now to add the door. The door, people want to come in right off the sidewalk. So because it's on this side of the building, the side that connects back to the vanishing point, your doors, your windows, all those little details, it is just like making a smaller version of this inside this space. So I'm not drawing a door like this. That looks weird. And there's a reason, there is a reason that it looks weird. That reason is it is wrong. So instead, the sides are still vertical. Don't let them get weird and diagonal. Vertical, vertical. Ah, I need to make this taller. And then the top of it is going to connect back to the vanishing point. Again, you don't need to make the bottom because the bottom is lined up with the sidewalk, which is nice. Now, depending on what kind of building this is, bank, grocery store, office building, I don't know. If I have any details, windows, letters, whatever, on this side of the building, they all still need to connect back to the vanishing point. So I can't just start drawing square windows over here. That looks really weird, and it looks weird because it's wrong. The windows on this side of the building need to connect back to the vanishing point. If you want to become like a little, I don't know, window factory, easy way to do it is to make your lines however many you need. I'm only going to fit 2 windows on this side for the top and bottom. Line my ruler up with my vanishing point again, make another one. That's the top, that's the bottom. Vanishing point, top, top, vanishing point, bottom, bottom. Now I can come in with my ruler, vertically line it up, line it up down here, and just make my sides. So here's one side, 2 sides. Other edge, those are all vertical. Set my pencil here, line my ruler up, vertical, vertical. Told you need your ruler a lot more in this one. And then same thing over here. I'm going to swing this out a little bit more. Vertical, vertical, and then this line needs to extend a little bit more here, and I can get rid of all these little weird extra lines. Now I have 4 windows in the front of my building. It would be nice if people had a handle to get in there. And then if I want to make this, let's say that I'm going to make this bank. In order to figure out how big my letters are going to be, you guessed it, we're going to set some guidelines with the vanishing point. So I'll line my ruler up here, and then inside this space, that's how big my letters should be. So if I'm doing, maybe this is PNC, my P back here touches the top and the bottom. The N next to it also touches top and bottom. So the letters that are closer to me are a little bit bigger. The letters that are further away are a little bit smaller. There we go, a little tiny PNC. Now the nice thing about this is that on this side of the building, the windows are just going to be squares, but I'm going to add another building right in front of it. So let's say I'm going to leave a little space in between, and this is the edge of the building here. Actually, I'm not going to leave a little space in between. So that's a really small building in between those. So I'm going to draw the side of the building that's facing me. So this side here is like this side of this building. So I'm going to get rid of where this building overlaps. Now I have the side of my building that's facing me. Now I need to make the front of it. Right now it looks like I just have a wall that I built in between this building and this building. So to turn this into another little building, super easy, I'm going to line my ruler up with my vanishing point in the corner and just connect it until it connects to that building. And then to make the top of this building was above the horizon line, so I don't see the top of it. This building, I do see the top of it. It's below the horizon line. So I'm going to line this up here. And this is like making the top of my cube. That first cube that we made, it goes right off the edge of the paper. It's a really long building. And then there's my little building in front of the PNC. And this is, I don't know what kind of little shop this is. Maybe a little like boutique. And then if I want to be kind of accurate, have all the doors the same height, I can measure that one and then use it to make the rest of them. This is a one-story boutique with a giant door. There we go. And then I can add windows, add my lettering on here to say boutique. Now, if I want to do a building back behind here, let's say that I want like a little alleyway in between. So I'm going to put a building here, but it's behind this building. I'm going to get rid of the horizon line. And I'm just going to draw what I can see. So I can see the bottom of it. It's like this part of this building. I can see the bottom of it here. So now it looks like I have a little alleyway that I can walk into. And now I need to figure out, where's the top of this building? It's right here. Where does it end? It's not as wide as the bank. It ends here. This is the same square that we started with when we were making our cube. I just can't see the whole thing. Now I do the same thing as before. I connect this corner back to my vanishing point, figure out how wide that building is, line it up so my ruler is still vertical, draw my line, and I get rid of that in between. Now I have 1, 2, 3 buildings going down the street, and then in the opposite side of the street, it's the same idea that I would start with square over here, making the side that's facing me. The side that's going down the street gets connected back to my vanishing point. So it's the same basic principle as working with those cubes, but now I'm just turning them into buildings by adding a couple little details, but always still using my vanishing point. So next you'll see the time lapse of, my finished cityscape, or you'll see me working on it, and then you can try your own.